Hello, welcome to Oxford Heirlooms. Now today I've got my ribbon woven into my beading on my bodice pieces for my two heirloom bubbles. I've got the pink one and I've got the blue one, which is sitting over here to my side. Now along this shoulder seam up here, what I like to do when I'm creating an heirloom garment is I like to attach the fabric to fabric using a strip of entredot because it gives a nice little touch. So I'm going to be inserting my entredot today. Now I'm using some entredot that has about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's white, so I'm still using white thread. Even though I talk about pink bubbles and blue bubbles, I have yet to sew with blue thread or pink thread. Since I've been inserting laces, I've been using white thread. Okay, now I'm going to position my entredot at the top of my shoulder seam, and then I'm going to slowly lower my foot down, and as I check my needle is going in, if you look real closely, it's going in right next to the entredot. Okay, so I've got my machine set to a straight line, and I'm going to sew, go forward and backward just a little bit just to tack that on there. I'm sewing right next to the entredot on the batiste. Now I don't go real fast, only because it's real easy to stab the entredot itself, the latter part, or to kind of float away from being really close to the ladder on the entredot. Okay, so I've got that side done. Let me clip my threads. Then I'll trim my entredot a little bit shorter. And so I've got a piece of entredot sewn onto that shoulder piece. Let me do the same thing to the other side. And then before I can zigzag them down, I need to go iron the bodice piece so that, you know, when I zigzag, the fabric doesn't pucker. Okay, now you notice I had to put the ribbon into the beading before I sewed the entredot in, because that was going to, the threads were going to be catching that. Okay, so now what I have to do is I'm sewing these bubbles with imperial batiste rather than Swiss batiste, and it doesn't finger fold as well as Swiss batiste does. Because of the polyester that it has in it. So I'm going to use my iron, and I'm going to iron this entredot flat so that I can come back through and zigzag, and then I can attach the back bottom piece to this top piece over here. But we'll talk a little bit more later.